Now, your English is probably pretty good. You can understand your teachers, read and write emails. But then when you're at work, a colleague will say something to you like,
"We'll circle back and touch base later."
and you'll feel totally lost. And why is that? It's because nobody has ever taught you business English. And corporate English, business English truly is its own language. So today I'm breaking down 10 business English idioms that you will hear every single day at work so that you know what they mean and, more importantly, how to use them yourself. All right, let's dive in. All right, let's start with one that you really hope to never hear about yourself, and that is to throw someone under the bus. Yes, to throw someone under the bus. Yikes, what does that mean? It sounds a little violent, but there's no violence involved. It really just means to unfairly blame someone, and usually to protect yourself. So imagine a project that you're working on fails. Instead of "we didn't plan well enough," your manager says, "well, the team didn't execute properly." He just threw his team under the bus. He threw his team under the bus. I can't believe he threw me under the bus in front of the client just to protect himself. I can't believe he threw me under the bus in front of the client just to protect himself. So this is definitely an expression you don't want to be involved in on either side. A good leader never does this, by the way. Now, the opposite of throwing somebody under the bus is to take ownership of something, to take ownership. This means that you accept responsibility for something, the good and the bad. So the positive and the negative outcomes. She really took ownership of that project from day one. She really took ownership of that project from day one. We need somebody to take ownership of this issue. We need somebody to take ownership of this issue. Number 3, circle back. This is another expression that you will hear constantly, to circle back. This just means we'll return to this topic later. We'll discuss this topic later. We'll connect at another time in the future to discuss it again. For example, that's a good point. Let's circle back after we hear from the client. Let's circle back after we hear from the client. I'll check with finance, and then let's circle back later. I'll check with finance, and then let's circle back later. So we're not giving up on the topic, we're just parking it for now. Number 4, keep me in the loop. Keep me in the loop. This means to keep someone informed. So keep me in the loop on any updates from the customer. Keep me in the loop on any updates from the customer. Or I want to stay in the loop on this project. I want to stay in the loop on this project. You can say that too, to stay in the loop. Managers use this expression all the time. They just want to be kept in the loop. To touch base. I am not exaggerating when I say you will hear this every single day at work. To touch base. It just means to briefly check in with somebody about something. To briefly connect with them, talk to them, email them, somehow make contact with them about something. Let's touch base next week. Let's touch base next week. We often start emails with this phrase. I wanted to touch base on the client feedback, for example. I wanted to touch base on the client feedback. Now, before we move on to our second group of idioms, let's do a pop quiz. The question is, your manager comes to you and says, let's circle back on this. Is she A, saying that she wants to abandon the topic and not talk about it again? Or B, is she saying that she just wants to discuss it later, maybe after you guys get some new information? Tell me in the comments, A or B, and I'll tell you if you're right. And if you guys are finding this video helpful so far, please give me some feedback by hitting the like button. It really helps the channel. I appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to our second bucket of business English idioms. On the same page. On the same page. This means we all have the same understanding about something. We all agree on something. We're all moving in the same direction. We're all on the same page about something. For example, let's say you're in a meeting, maybe a big decision is about to be made, and somebody in the group says, before we move forward, let's all make sure we're on the same page. Before we move forward, let's all make sure we're on the same page. Getting to the end of our list with idiom number 7, to move the needle. To move the needle. Now, this is an expression you will hear when something is working well, when something is having an impact. It's moving the needle. You'll hear, that really moved the needle. That really moved the needle. It means it made a meaningful impact. The new pricing strategy really moved the needle on conversions. The pricing strategy really moved the needle on conversions. We need ideas that really move the needle. We need ideas that really move the needle. Up to speed. Up to speed. So picture this. You've been on vacation. It's your first day back into the office. A colleague comes up to you and says, hey, there's been a lot going on with this project. Let me get you up to speed real quick. They're going to get you up to speed. That means they're going to give you the latest information about what's going on with the project. They're going to update you. They're going to get you up to speed on the project. Or you could say, for example, I've been out all week. Can somebody bring me up to speed? We also use the verb to bring here. So to get me up to speed, to bring me up to speed. Can you get me up to speed on this? Can you bring me up to speed on this? Our next expression is absolutely an expression you'll use about yourself: to have the bandwidth or to not have the bandwidth. So usually we'll say, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth. And what does that mean? That means I don't have the time to do this, the time or the capacity to take something on right now. But it sounds more professional than just saying I don't have time, or I'm too busy, or I don't want to. You could say, I'd love to help with that, but I don't have the bandwidth this week. I'd love to help with that, but I don't have the bandwidth this week. And finally, low-hanging fruit. What is low-hanging fruit? Low-hanging fruit means the easiest opportunity or the quickest win. It's an achievement without too much effort. For example, let's focus on the low-hanging fruit first before we tackle the bigger problems. Let's focus on the low-hanging fruit first before we tackle the bigger problems. You'll hear this expression a lot in planning sessions, perhaps, or strategy conversations. And it can be a pretty good approach. Start with what's easy, what you can achieve without too much effort. We covered a lot of ground today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then you are going to love my next video here. I have some key phrases that make people stop and listen to you in meetings. So be sure to check that one out. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you always, and I'll see you in this video next.